It's really quite simple, dear. Margaret adjusted her new Cartier watch. A wedding gift from husband number 3. The children need a proper maternal figure, and your family now. I stared at her across the mahogany conference table in my office, wondering if she realized the irony of having this conversation in the headquarters of the tech company I'd built from scratch. I am family, I agreed, glancing at the quarterly reports on my tablet. I'm also the CEO of a $2 billion company. Yes, your little startup, she waved dismissively. But Richard's children need stability, structure, a mother's touch. Richard, the telecommunications mogul she'd married 3 months ago, came with 4 kids from his previous marriage. The same Richard whose company was hemorrhaging market share to innovative competitors like mine. They have a mother, I reminded her, and 2 nannies, from what I understand. Their mother is in Europe with that tennis instructor. Margaret's lip curled in disapproval. And hired help can never replace family. You're their stepsister-in-law now. You have responsibilities. Through my office windows, I could see my development team working on our latest software release, the one that would probably finish destroying Richard's outdated business model. My responsibility is to my company, I said carefully, and to our shareholders. Family comes first, Margaret insisted. Richard agrees completely. He says it's wonderful that you're willing to step in. I raised an eyebrow. I haven't agreed to anything. Don't be difficult, dear. The children need you. Richard's daughter Sophia is struggling in school. The twins need someone to coordinate their activities, and little James is having trouble adjusting to the divorce. My phone buzzed with an alert. Another drop in Richard's company stock price. Soon, very soon. I sympathize, I said, not entirely lying. But I can't abandon my company. Abandon? Margaret laughed her society laugh. Dear, you've made your point with this career thing. You've proven you can play with the big boys. Now it's time to focus on what really matters. The casual dismissal of everything I'd built made my teeth clench. 10 years of 80-hour weeks, fighting through tech bros' condescension, building something revolutionary, reduced to playing with the big boys. What matters, I said evenly, is that I have 500 employees depending on me, and shareholders who've trusted me with their investments. Richard could find a position for some of them, Margaret offered magnanimously, once you've settled in with the children, of course. My laptop pinged, another acquisition target analysis from my team. Richard's company's vulnerabilities highlighted in neat red bullets. The children have 2 parents, I reminded her, and professional caregivers. But they need family. Margaret leaned forward, her designer perfume nearly overwhelming. Richard's been so generous, bringing us all together. The least you could do is help with his children. Through the glass walls, I saw my CFO giving me the signal. Our latest stock purchase had gone through, 1 step closer. I help by being successful, I said carefully, by being someone those kids can look up to. They need someone to look at, not up to, Margaret countered. Someone there every day, not playing businesswoman in an office. My phone buzzed again. Richard's company stock was down another 3%. The market was noticing our quiet purchases. I built this company from nothing, I said quietly. While you were going through husbands 2 and 3, I was creating something lasting. And now you can create something more important, she smiled condescendingly. A real family legacy. The irony almost made me laugh, if she only knew what was coming. Speaking of legacy, I glanced at my calendar. How is Richard's company doing? I heard there were some challenges. Minor setbacks, Margaret waved away millions in losses. Richard always lands on his feet. He has connections. Connections wouldn't save him from what was coming. Innovation, adaptability, and strategic planning would win. Everything his company had failed at. I'm sure he does, I smiled slightly, but I still can't abandon my company. You're being selfish. Margaret stood, smoothing her designer dress. Those children need you. Richard needs you. Family needs you. My phone lit up with another message. Our ownership stake had just crossed 15%. Soon we'd have to file public disclosure. You're right about one thing, I said softly. Family is important. So is taking care of people who depend on you. Then you'll do it? Margaret's face lit up. You'll help with the children. No, I checked the stock ticker again. But I will be seeing a lot more of Richard soon, professionally speaking. What does that mean? Her eyes narrowed slightly. It means I stood, ending the meeting. That's sometimes the best way to help family is to stay exactly where you are. In 6 weeks, I'd be Richard's boss. But Margaret didn't need to know that. Yet. Sometimes the best revenge is simply letting business take its course. 6 weeks later, I sat in the same conference room, watching Margaret's face as the reality of the situation finally sank in. This is impossible. She clutched her designer handbag like a shield. Richard would never sell to your daughter-in-law who should be home with the children. I finished mildly, sliding the acquisition paperwork across the table. The market disagrees. Richard sat beside her, his corporate swagger replaced by defeated resignation. The numbers didn't lie. His company had been bleeding market share for years while mine had been innovating. It's a hostile takeover. Margaret turned to Richard desperately. You can fight this. With what capital? I asked quietly, pulling up the financial projections. Your key 3 losses were catastrophic. The board has already approved the sale. Through my office windows, I could see the CNBC headlines running. Tech's newest giant. Rising star acquires legacy player. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing with congratulations all morning. But the children, Margaret sputtered. They need stability. Structure. They'll have it, I assured her, pulling out another document. Along with fully funded college accounts, guaranteed internships if they want them, and a trust that activates when they turn 25. Richard's head snapped up. This wasn't in the official acquisition terms. I take care of family, I said simply. Just not by abandoning my responsibilities. This is manipulation. Margaret's voice shook. Using business to force your way into. Into what? I interrupted. Into the family you insisted I prioritize? I'm doing exactly what you asked. Putting family first. My CFO appeared at the door with more paperwork. The markets were responding enthusiastically to the acquisition announcement. Our stock was up 12% already. The integration team is ready, I told Richard directly. We'll retain 60% of your workforce with generous packages for the rest. Your core technology will be upgraded, not scrapped. And my position? He asked quietly. Senior Advisory Board. I slid over another contract. Your experience has value even if your business model didn't. Plus, you'll have more time for those family obligations Margaret keeps mentioning. Margaret's perfectly manicured hands trembled as she reached for the papers. This isn't what I meant about family. No, I agreed. You meant I should give up everything I've built to babysit. Instead, I built something bigger, strong enough to protect everyone, including the children you claim to care so much about. Through the glass walls, I could see my team preparing for the transition. Months of careful planning were finally paying off. The children's trust, Richard said slowly, reading the documents. This is generous. Family takes care of family. I echoed Margaret's words back to her. Just not by sacrificing success. My phone buzzed with another alert. Our stock was still climbing. The market loved a well-executed acquisition. You've been planning this, Margaret accused. All those times you refused to help with the children. I was helping, I corrected. By building something lasting, something that will secure their future better than any amount of babysitting could. Richard was still reading the integration plans, his business acumen finally engaging. These technology upgrades, they could actually work. Of course they'll work. I pulled up our development roadmap. We've been innovating while you were coasting on past success. Now we'll do it together. Margaret's face shifted from shock to calculation. Classic Margaret, always looking for an angle. Well, she attempted a smile. I suppose this makes us even more family than before. It makes us business partners, I corrected. Family was your choice when you married Richard. Business is mine. My assistant appeared with champagne, not to celebrate the acquisition, but to mark the moment Margaret finally understood who really held the power. The press conference is in an hour, I informed them. Richard, you'll need to project confidence about the merger. Margaret, you're welcome to attend, but... Of course I'll attend, she interrupted, already adjusting her designer outfit. I'm family, after all. Yes, I smiled slightly, remembering all her condescending comments about my little startup. You certainly are. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's simply succeeding so thoroughly that nothing else matters. 1 year later, I sat reviewing the quarterly reports in my expanded office, a photo of Richard's kids on my desk. not as charges I was watching, but as participants in our company's new STEM education program. Sophia's code won the junior hackathon, my assistant mentioned, bringing coffee. The twins' robotics team is heading to nationals. The children had thrived once they were given opportunities instead of obligations. Even little James was showing interest in our junior engineering workshops. Margaret still not speaking to me. I smiled at the thought. Even though the acquisition tripled her family's net worth, the merger had been more successful than anyone predicted. Richard's experience combined with our innovation had created something remarkable. Even the market analysts were impressed. The children's trust fund statements went out, my CFO added from the doorway. Margaret tried to access them again. Of course she did. I sighed, remembering her attempts to control the money I'd set aside for the kids' future. She still doesn't understand she has no authority over those accounts. Through my office windows, I could see Sophia in the junior developer lab, learning to code with our top engineers, so much for Margaret's insistence that she needed constant maternal supervision. Richard's doing well with the advisory board, my assistant noted. His experience is actually valuable when he's not fighting to save a dying company. He'd found his footing in the new structure, offering insights without trying to control everything. Unlike Margaret, who was still trying to manipulate situations to her advantage. The family therapy sessions are helping. I touched the latest report. The kids are processing the divorce better now that they have stability and purpose. Not the kind of stability Margaret had demanded, the enforced domesticity of a full-time caregiver, but the security of knowing their future was protected and their potential valued. The new family leave policy is getting attention, my CFO mentioned. Other companies are following our lead. We'd implemented comprehensive support for all types of families, not just the traditional structure Margaret had tried to force. Working parents, blended families, single parents all had resources and flexibility. Margaret called again about the Christmas gala, my assistant sighed. She wants to help plan the corporate event. Still trying to control something, I smiled slightly. Tell her the professional event planners have it handled. The annual gala would showcase our company's achievements, including the children's STEM projects. Not quite the society event Margaret had envisioned, but far more meaningful. The kids want to spend their school break in the innovation lab, my assistant added, rather than the country club activities Margaret planned. They'd found their own paths, far from their grandmother's social engineering. Sophia was already talking about computer science programs for college. Sometimes the best care isn't caregiving, I observed, watching the junior developers at work. It's creating opportunities. Margaret had wanted me to give up everything to focus on family. Instead, I built something that benefited everyone, including the children she claimed to care about so much. The new headquarters opens next month, my CFO reminded me. The Children's Education Center will be named after the kids. A lasting legacy, not of forced domestic obligations, but of opportunity and growth. Something Margaret would never quite understand. Family first, I murmured, echoing Margaret's words with new meaning. Just not the way she planned. Through the glass walls, I could see the future we built, not through sacrifice and submission, but through innovation and empowerment. The children were thriving, the company was soaring, and Margaret was learning that sometimes the best way to help family is to ignore those who claim to speak for it. Success, after all, is the sweetest revenge,